Hi guys, this is Allie with Chaos Monkey, and I just wanted to do I get a lot of questions from friends and stuff about how to start a self-striping yarn on the same stripes so that your socks match. And it's not really that complicated to do, but a lot of my friends are like, can you show me? So I decided, you know what, let me just do a video on this. So what I'm going to use is Knit Picks Felici in the color Countess, and I already pulled it out, so that's the yarn barf that's wound up around. So if you don't know where to find the center pole on a ball, if the label is like this, up and down, it's in the top. If it's sideways, the label, it's on the right side. And what you have to do is you have to go in there and kind of feel around and grab it. Also make sure that the other end of the yarn is not tucked into this side if you go in to pull it out of here, because it can get tangled inside. So on other balls, just check this side, pull out the tail, and then dig for the yarn center this way. But if you're lucky, you can just get the strand, but usually you get barf, a whole bunch of yarn that comes out all at once, and we call that yarn barf. So it's just wrapped up. That's what happened with both these guys. I got some yarn barf and I just wrapped it around the outside. So basically I'm just going to take off the barf here so it doesn't get tangly. And I'm going to show you that each ball does not start at the same color. So you kind of have to make that happen. So here you can see I'm starting, this ball starts on the dark purple, and then it could be a partial stripe, it may not even be the whole stripe, and then it fades into the lighter purple. And the second ball, which has lots of barf, I'm just going to pull off part of this. So these two kind of started at the same point. So we kind of got lucky there. Just be careful if you have a lot of different stripes of the same type of color, like, you know, all these purples. You can get mixed up on which purple is which, but these are pretty well defined. You have dark, medium, light, and like a pink, so we should be alright. Not get mixed up. So basically what you want to do is you want to start at the same color, and sometimes that requires a lot of digging. But here, let's just put these purples together. So one from each strand, or each ball, and we're just going to pull and see what the next color comes out as. Okay, I'm hitting pink on one and not pink on the other. And I'm going to keep pulling and see if the other ball goes to pink, and if we're lucky. And yay, we are. Okay. Sometimes it's not that lucky. Sometimes the next one you pull will be a completely different color. So the main key is to just find the same color from both balls, okay? And you see how I'm not lined up. So I know the light purple on both balls is going to be a full stripe because it's inside the ball, it's not the beginning color. So I'm going to line up the pinks to where they both start at the same spot. So you see where I'm going to purple on that one, and try not to get tangled. That's the other key, is these two strands are side by side, so there's a very good shot you're going to get tangled. Alright, so here you are at the same color, at the same place, and you're going to line these up as close as you can, which is right there, and hold it. And then we're going to look at the other end here, and you'll see that one color ended. So you see they ended here. This was the beginnings of the balls. So you can see they weren't lined up. So you want to just scrap that first stripe because you want both your stripes to be the same color and the same length. But what I also do is, you know how you need a tail, when you, especially if you're knitting and you're doing a long tail cast on, or socks, and you have to have your tail hanging off to weave in like 2 or 3 inches. So what I will do is go to the color I want to start, which is the light purple. That's going to be the start of my toe because I do toe up. And then I just kind of pull back to where I want the color to, because I know I'm going to have tail. So I don't want to shorten my purple any more than I have to, so I'm going to cut it here. And you can use this for scrap yarn or for provisional cast-ons or whatever. And now we know they start at the exact same spot in each ball, and you have a little room for a tail before your color starts. Because in the toes are kind of chunkier anyway because there's less stitches. So it wouldn't really matter if I bit into that a little bit, because my stripe overall is still going to be chunkier than the other stripes for toe up. But I just kind of like to leave a little bit of extra in case I really want, because I'm really picky about it. Like if I was doing top down, I would definitely want each stripe exactly the same, because they will be until you hit the heel. And so I would make sure I had some of this so that this was actually where the tail was. So when I actually started knitting my stripe, my sock stripe would start with almost the entire stripe length. So that's just basically it. This one was an easy ball. Sometimes the balls are really tricky and you have to pull out a lot to get the colors to match up and then kind of backtrack to find out which color they both have in common. But it's basically, that's it. And you just want to clean up your balls and, you know, put the yarn back into each ball, because now you know, okay, each sock's going to start at exactly the same place. So there's one, gosh, I keep knocking my camera down, and there's two. And you know that you can pick up either ball and you're going to have it start where you want. Now if you're going to do one at a time, just make sure you remember how much you pull off for your start, for your long tail cast on. And what I'll do on my long tail, because I usually do two at a time, but let's say you're going to do one at a time, still probably do this technique. I'll pull out however much I need, fold it, I would need more than this probably, but fold it in half like that, and then just take one side, but keep them both pinched like that, so that you know where to start on each cast on, where to make your slip knot would be here, and it would be even on both. And if you're going to do one at a time, maybe mark this with something, put like a slip knot and maybe a clippy marker in there, and just wind it up with the ball, and then you can work on this one, and then when you get to do the other sock later, you go, oh yeah, this is where I need to start my long tail, and pull out your clip and do your slip knot right there, so that they still match. Because if you do one sock and then come back and do a shorter tail on the second sock, your stripes might be a little bit off. So that's just a way to keep track. I do two at a time usually, so when I do this, I'll cast on one, put this here carefully, and then pick this one up, cast it on second in the exact same spot. So that's just another little tip to keep your stripes fairly even. So yeah, that's just it. This one was pretty simple, like I said, but I've gotten some really complicated striping yarns that were a little more tricky. But basically you just pull out till you get to the color you want to start both in, or the color they both have in common, and then just trim it up till they're perfectly equal. And hopefully you don't lose too much at the beginning, which I really didn't. I barely lost anything. Off of one ball, I lost this much, and off the other ball I lost this much. So you know that overall one of your balls when you get to the end is going to be a little bit shy. Just try to keep that in mind too, which is why I like toe up, because I know I can see both balls at the end and I'll know where to stop to have them perfectly level or perfectly even, because you know you had to take off a little more off one ball to get the stripes to match. And that's basically it. So it's not really that difficult, it's just kind of tricky to keep track and to start your cast on in the exact same spot in both balls so that your stripes are even. Because even a couple of inches off can change where that stripe starts and give you a little bit difference in your stripes from one sock to the other. Okay, that was it. Just wanted to do a quickie. Thank you. Bye.